Hello. Hello. Today I'm filming a video that Alex asked for. Shout out to Alex. Hey guys, I'm Amy. I have through the years had many different variations of my, I don't want to say unique because I don't want to be like, I was unique, I had this style, but like eclectic style. Today it looks pretty rubbish. Let's shut my laptop, otherwise you're going to be able to see that glare. No, it's just outside. Guess that's better. Yeah, today I'm wearing a jacket, a t-shirt and some leggings, so it's not that exciting, but I've gone through my Facebook and I've saved a bunch of photos from my Facebook. I haven't done this based on Instagram because I feel like Instagram is more curated, so it was more like what my idealised style would be versus like what I actually wore, which is what gets put on Facebook. And also you guys can scroll through my Instagram, whereas my Facebook is like private, so you guys can't do that. So we're gonna go through some Facebook photos. I'm gonna put them here. I'm gonna crop out anyone who like isn't me, and we're gonna talk through the evolution of Amy's style. I started off with a pretty like girly style, so I wore a lot of like beiges and floral things, and you can see in this photo here, this was like a pretty standard outfit for me. You're gonna see some photos today, I'm just warning you, like some of these are a time. So this is basically just like me going into choosing my own clothes, but also like not really, haven't really tried anything else at this point. So the next few photos I have are when like I started to develop like my own personality. I think there's probably a bit of a time jump between these photos. So this photo here is of some Death Note earrings that I bought that I was very excited about, and I still have them to this day. But these were one of the first like bits of accessories that I bought like online for myself that I like picked out because I wanted, mainly because I was really into Death Note, but this kind of started my like trend of wearing like bold but also signature pieces of jewellery. I also have this photo which is very indicative. So I have like a graphic t-shirt on which I wore all the time. I had a mustache ring and I have my Miku plushie because of course I did. I wore that ring all the time. I wore that t-shirt all the time. In fact, it is in my t-shirt quilt that I have on my bed. So yeah, this was I think my first like foray into my own style, which was like graphic t-shirts and like bold jewellery and also black painted nails, of course. Alongside doing this, I was also still kind of doing some of the girlier things. At this point my style was kind of all over the place, and it still kind of is, like that's the theme, like it is always going to be all over the place. But this photo here was taken on the Eiffel Tower. I think this would have been in 2014, possibly 2013. I still have that dress, I still wear that dress, I still like it. But I really liked those like skater style dresses at the time. A theme of these is like liking styles but not owning the clothes that fit them very well. So I really liked these skater style dresses, but I didn't wear them because I didn't own them. I think I only had two, and I think I still have both of them because I still like them both and they still fit me. You can see that like my makeup was pretty chill. Again, I was quite young at this point, and I also had like my long, some people call it blonde, some people call it ginger, some people call it brown, strawberry blonde hair, and in its natural colour. I also had Pokemon nails at this point. I've always had funky nails, to be honest. I think this is really interesting because this is a photo of the next day, which is completely different style. My hair is pulled back, I have t-shirt and jeans on, which I usually do. I have on very dark makeup, so I have on dark eyeshadow. I don't think I've got any lipstick on. I didn't really wear lipstick for a while. Yeah, the two, like, this was the same trip to France, which was only like 3 days, 3 or 4 days long, so yeah. You can see how much my style was all over the place, though you can also see the necklace that I'm wearing, which I think was a little poison bottle. I also have on these like multicoloured gloves, fingerless gloves and like accessory gloves in general was also a big thing. God, this photo's awful, I'm so sorry. I also wore these wristbands, so I've got blue on one hand and you can't see the other one, I've got a red one on the other. I wore these every single day. The blue one had Russia from Italia on it, the red one had Growl from Death Note. Don't judge me. So I still have that scarf, I still wear that scarf. This was my evolution of going for like more like bold things. So I still wore a lot of jeans and t-shirts, but occasionally I'd wear this like, so that dress that I've got on is like a like sort of bodycon black woolen dress that had like lips like sequined on the front of it that I really loved, and I used to like over accessorize like to hell. Like I went bold. Also a theme in all of this and all the makeup is that I wear black eyeliner. The eyeliner has evolved. but it's always been a thing. Most of the time I wore jeans and t-shirt. This is a photo of me in Florida. I have on shorts and a t-shirt. This was pretty indicative. In everyday life I wore jeans and a t-shirt, and then occasionally would like branch out into these other styles. Again, it's just because of what I owned, I think. Like, I don't know if I wasn't sure enough in my own style to buy other clothes that weren't jeans and a t-shirt. But I think, like, honestly, if I think about it, it's just because I just didn't have like one style that I was drawn to, and still to this day, I just like t-shirts and jeans. I also really liked the idea of having a vast graphic t-shirt collection, and in a few years time you'll see that I start to develop a vast graphic t-shirt collection, and I still have one. This I point like as a turning point. This dress is a turning point in my style. It's another geisha dress. It is by Hell Bunny. It was when I started my love for Hell Bunny. I still love Hell Bunny. And it was like quite an elegant skater dress. It was more adult, and I still wear it today. But it was still quite young, if you know what I mean. Like, I could get away with it, but it to me it definitely marked like a turning point. Those like line black chokers as well, you'll see a lot in this time period. Again, dark eyeshadow, with probably no lipstick. This was also the time that I was getting into cosplay, so a lot of like my I don't know, my style energy went into cosplay, because that was what I liked wearing. So here's a picture of me in my Ukraine cosplay again. Please don't judge me. This is around the time that like I also started getting into more punk things. I liked the idea of goth, but I never really got into it just yet. Like, I did later on. But I was sort of like in between, like working out if I liked like Victorian goth or like more like punk styled goth. I really liked this dress. I also really like this jacket. I still wear this jacket all the time. Love it so much. You'll also still see the gloves. Had a very vast glove collection. I wore them a lot. What you can't see in this picture is the red docs that I wore all the time as well. Bright, like cherry red, shiny docs, which I loved. And then I wore them to London for a weekend, and they destroyed my feet. There are still scars on my feet from them, and I don't know why, but ever since then they hurt my feet. They were fine until that point. Yeah, it was bizarre. Again, very little to no hairstyle, small amount of makeup, but it is dark. So I see this dress again as another like turning point dress, iconic point dress. So this was taken at Whitby Goth Week. At this point I'd already kind of decided that I was into like gothic, like Victorian gothic things, though the punk will come back later. And a lot of my style like varied around that. So we have a necklace from Claire's, we have a mask that I bought like 20 minutes before this photo was taken, that leather jacket, still wear, still love. It's very versatile. Again, we have gloves, we have those Converse that I wore sometimes that were not comfortable at all. And this dress was important to me because it was the first gothic thing that I bought. I remember going into, I think it's from H&M, and being like, I like that dress, and my mum being like, I hope you're not going down the gothic route, and me thinking, I kind of want to go down the gothic route. And then us going back later and buying the dress. I still own this dress. I really liked it. I still really like it. But this to me is a marker. So whereas the Hell Bunny dress before was a marker of like edging into like sort of edgy vintage, which sort of stays a theme, this was the marker of the goth phase. Again, I was still into cosplay, so this is another photo taken where I had a coat on from my girl cosplay. Did this quite a lot, wore elements of cosplay out in everyday life because I like to be quirky. Again, you can see little to no makeup, no hairstyling, and like the makeup is dark. So now we're gonna get into the graphic tee section. I was still wearing a lot of t-shirts and jeans, but I decided to make that part of my identity, part of my style, instead of just the default. And I started buying a lot of graphic t-shirts, a lot of them anime, a lot of them not. I still have a lot. I still like to collect t-shirts. What's mine today? I think it's the, yeah, it says Creeping It Real. It's from Primark. Primark t-shirts are always a theme here. So this is from Full Metal Alchemist. I have this one from Supernatural. Also these jeans. At the time I was interested in steampunk but never fully got into it, so I really liked the idea of these stripy jeans. I still own them, I still really like them. So I wore these stripy jeans a lot because in my head they were kind of steampunky. I also had these goggles that I wore around my neck a lot. Again, I think this was like me being interested in like edgier styles, so like punk, goth, steampunk kind of thing, but not fully knowing how to incorporate it. maybe not necessarily being confident enough, but just not owning the things and not fully understanding how to implement them properly. So just choosing like small elements of that style and then occasionally going like all out, like you saw in the Goth Week photo. So I wanted to include this photo because of this coat. This coat was another like iconic piece to me in my brain. Again, I think like Victorian goth was kind of like the element of goth that I was going for, and I loved this coat. This was like a Victorian goth inspired coat. I wore it all the time until it literally fell apart. I think I still have it, but it like all the buttons fell off and I had to sew them back on, like the bits of thread were coming off. I wore this every day. I wore it to school. Like, to me this was my way of demonstrating what I enjoyed in an outfit that necessarily didn't. So I'd wear t-shirts and jeans, but then I'd wear this coat as if to be like a signifier of like, yes, I know I'm wearing t-shirts and jeans, but this is what I actually like, this is what I actually want to wear. So here's another photo, t-shirts and jeans. This was when I started wearing a lot of red and black, especially red and black tartan. This stayed on for a while. I had these like red and black tartan jeans that were really tight and too small for me. This is another like red letter moment, I think. So this was when I went to the 50s festival at Beamish. I was always kind of interested in vintage style, but I never sort of went for it fully. To this I wore that like Hellbunny skater dress, and I had my hair done, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed dressing in that style, but I didn't fully embrace it for a while. I don't think I've even fully embraced it today. This was my prom dress, so this was kind of an in-betweeny of two styles, which I think is another good example. We still have the gloves, of course, but this was kind of a Victorian Gothic style, almost Victorian Gothic style, almost 80s style vintage prom dress that I got for like 30 quid, and I remember seeing it and being like, yes, that one. We tried on loads and we walked into the shop and it was the first one I saw and I was like, that one. And I tried it on and I was like, I don't care if it fits or not, I'm gonna get it tailored, I want this one, I want this dress. And I don't regret it, I like the dress, I like it a lot. And I think this was like, demonstrated the evolution between like liking like goth and burgundy, still my favourite colour, but also like foraying a bit more into vintage and also seeing like vintage clothes as like a viable thing to buy. So then we get into sixth form, and again, we have the eyeliner. The eyeliner is always important. Had very little wings, they've grown over the years. So here is when I got my glasses. Again, another turning point in the style. Changed things into a bit more vintage, just because of the style of glasses that I chose. Was wearing a lot of red. I liked red at the time. We still have some like Victorian goth / steampunk elements, such as the choker in this image, but the makeup is getting more vintage. Ignore the eyebrows. Again, you can see here more of an evolution between the two styles. So we have like some sort of like lacy tight things going on, but the makeup is still very vintage inspired. So we have like an element of the two going on here. Though I will say a lot of it, you know, I would like to underpin that through a lot of this, like, this is a trend. I wore very different things like on a day-to-day basis. On this photo I have a blue cardigan on and you can't really see, but it's like a blush pink floral dress. Like, I've never followed a particular aesthetic. I've always just been like, I like that dress, so I'm gonna wear it. So yeah, anything I say here is very like vague, because the evolution is slow and not very distinct. Also, I had very, very, very long hair at this point. Look at the length of that hair. I had such long hair. So I left sixth form, and again started wearing like more vintage things, but not like all the time. So we have this red dress that I had on here, and my hair up, which is a bit more of a vintage style. The red lipstick starts to come in. This dress is another turning point dress, so I don't have the image of it, but I got this dress for my 18th birthday. It's from Lindy Bop, and it was my first time discovering Lindy Bop, and it changed my... I wore it and was like, this. I like this. I like how this dress feels. I like how I feel in it. It feels fancy. I enjoy it. But at this point I'm still seeing these as like fancy dresses, and not like a viable option for everyday life, which is valid, but also like, live your life, you know. So yeah, when I got this dress, I immediately went and bought a load more on Lindy Bop, and I also like it made me rethink my style, because I know I'd always been a little bit interested in vintage, but then I put this on and was like, okay, I'm really interested in this. We should do more research into this. I still hadn't cut my hair though. I still hadn't changed any of my makeup or anything like that. I was just slowly introducing things. And then I cut my hair. I see this as a turning point because I think the long, like, blonde hair sort of gives itself to like a sort of ethereal, like, Victorian Gothic look. But it didn't really give itself very well to a vintage look. So to me, I see this as me deciding that I was at a turning point in my style. I was kind of leaving behind that like punk goth stuff, which I still enjoyed and I still definitely liked, but I was choosing to move on to a different thing, and I still like that stuff, but it's just not like, it's definitely like a lot lower down in what I'm interested in. I still dyed it purple because I still wanted to be a little bit goth, but like the cutting of it was the turning point. I also started wearing a lot more like purple and going for like more of that silhouette. So I went a lot more for like fit and flare silhouette. So you can see in this dress, like head to toe purple. Again, dark makeup, but I was better at it. Was also starting to introduce a lot more like darker lipsticks. I have a belt on to create that like fit and flare style. This is when I went on Pointless. I wore 2 Lindy Bop dresses. On Pointless I wore this blue cat dress, which I really like but other people don't like. And I also wore the Music Note dress from my 18th birthday. So this is the end of first year. Apparently I don't post on Facebook a lot. At this point you can see that I'm growing my hair out a bit and was getting a little bit away from like trying to stay towards like punk alternative style and definitely getting more into like vintage style. I bought like vintage dresses and like I tailored my makeup into that. The dress I'm wearing is a vintage dress, and I would say at this point we're like solidly in vintage land. And then we have this photo from like current times. I've started rolling my hair, though it has fallen out because I washed it a few days ago. Eyeliner is large, usually a dark lipstick, but not today because I'm not going out, and also masks if I do go out. I definitely go for vintagey styles, but not every day. Like vintage is a theme in all the clothes that I wear. Usually for like 40s, 50s vintage, but it is not a constant. I definitely think that I got more into this when I started buying more vintage clothes. Again, it was just the accessibility of the style. Like I had more of these items, so I'm able to wear that style more. Mainly got them from Kilo sales, would recommend. But yeah, that's how we reached where we are today. So yeah, this video was 22 minutes long and I'm sure that was a lot of information on the clothes that I wear. Don't know if any of you care, but here we are. If you have any requests or questions, then leave them down in the comments. If you'd like to see more videos about my style, then let me know, but I don't know what you'd like to know, so ask me a question and I'll answer the question. Yeah, I would, if you want to see like actually what I look like every day, look at my Instagram, because usually in my videos I film them on like days off, so I never look great compared to what I want you to think I look like, which is what I look like on Instagram. So yeah, if you have any requests or questions, then leave it down in the comments. New videos every Wednesday. Like, subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you next week.